Welcome to my makeover for today. I walked outside this morning and would you believe I found this little stool sitting under a tree. I couldn't believe it. It is so cute. I think it could have been a piano stool because of this back part, but I just really love the vintage lines on this chair. And one thing I always look for when I'm dumpster diving is how easy it is to take apart and put back together again, because the last thing you want to do is to do any real major upholstery when you're just trying to make over something quick and easy to upgrade your room. So the first thing I did when I found it is I flipped it upside down to see how it's all put together. And good news is that it is just fastened, the seat that is just fastened to the legs with some screws. So there's 4 screws. I'm gonna come real close so you can see. 1, 2, and 3, 4. And this is great news because it means that we don't have to do any major upholstery like piping or sewing anything in or anything like that. The other thing I want to mention when you do find something off the street is you want to bring it inside and you want to find somewhere that it's going to go immediately, because there's nothing worse than making something over in a really cute fabric or print or painting it the color that you want, and then you find somewhere to put it and it doesn't go well in that corner. Either the colors clash or it doesn't fit or it just looks bad. So I brought it in immediately this morning and I found a cute place in my bathroom next to my toilet, and that is where it's gonna go. So yeah, next step is to choose fabrics. This is a fabric that I love. I'm really into shibori prints right now, and because the stool is going in my bathroom, I wanted to pick a polyester fabric which is going to be more moisture resistant and isn't going to get so, I don't know, dampy like cotton would in an area that has a lot of water in it. So this is what I've chosen, and this is called Shibori Landscape Lapis by PK Lifestyles, and I love it. And so hopefully it is going to look like something like this when we're all done. So let's get to it. So I am just going to unscrew the seat from the frame, and as I mentioned before, there are just 4 screws holding it all together, which is awesome. Perfect. So now we can just take this old fabric off. I actually don't mind this fabric, but I just think it's a little bit dated and, you know, it just needs a fresh take. Luckily, there are just staples all around the frame, so we can just pop those off. In the meantime, before we do that, I am just going to put a little bit of wood polish on here just because it's very faded and we just want to make it look nice and rich again. So even though this isn't technically a Danish piece of furniture, this is what I have in my cupboard, and it is just called Danish oil, and it's basically just a wood polisher. So this is what I'm going to use. Let's hope it works out. I think the best thing about making something over is just being experimental and seeing how it turns out with what you have. Oh my gosh, I can't open this. Okay, just had to run it under a little hot water. So it's really best to do this before you put the new seat on the frame, because obviously you don't want to be getting all this wood polish and oil all over your new fabric. And you want to make sure that also the frame dries before you put it all back together again for the same reason. A good way to tell if you're doing it properly is that the wood will actually change color. So if you can see here, this part is old, so it's actually very light colored, and the minute I put a little bit of polish on, it's going to turn into a nice, rich mahogany color. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to let this oil soak into the wood while I work on recovering the seat. Okay, so it looks like this seat has been recovered a couple of times, so the staples shouldn't be too hard to get out. I'm just going to use my, what's this called, screwdriver, and I'm just going to pop them out like this. So, what I love about vintage furniture is that you never know when you peel back the layers what is going to be underneath. So here I've just taken off this top piece of fabric, and here we have the original. Yeah, I'm surprised that they kind of recovered the same fabric pretty much. So anyway, I am not going to bother with taking this off and putting on padding or anything like that. I am just going to put my fabric straight on top of this one and staple it down and then put it back on the frame. Okay, so now I'm just going to staple this fabric to the board. And at this point, I just want to point out that we still have to keep the holes for the screws to screw this back into the frame. So I can feel it with my fingers here where the holes are, and I'm just going to poke a little hole through to make sure that the screws can go back in. Alright, so the seat has been stapled together with the new fabric, and I think it looks really great. Super easy to do. And now we're going to put it back on the frame. And as you can see, the Danish oil that I put on this frame just really soaked into the wood, and it really has this nice rich color back into it. I brought it back to life, so to speak. So here is how it's all going to go together. Just like this, and I'm just going to screw it back in underneath. And voila! I have to say, I wasn't really sure how this was going to turn out, but I think it looks fabulous. So this is my new little seat for my bathroom. I'm going to have it right next to my sink where I can put my towels on it, maybe a little shelf above. And thank you so much for watching.